Welcome to another live stream of Canada's Technology Triangle.net user group. My name is Callan Campbell. I'm the host of Canada's Technology Triangle.net user group. And tonight we have Anthony Giretti here to talk to us about diving into .NET 9 features, including ASP.NET. Anthony, do you want to give yourself a welcome and do you want to give yourself a little intro?
Sure. So I'm Anthony Giretti. I'm Microsoft MVP. I'm certified, Microsoft certified in .NET, C#, and I'm the author of 2 books, Coding Clean, Reliable, and Safe REST APIs with .NET ASP.NET Core 8 and Beginning gRPC with ASP.NET Core 6.
Awesome. Yeah, I got Anthony's books. They are awesome. Definitely worth recommend getting them. And I hear, Anthony, you're working on a third book now?
Yep, unit test. I'm a bit late already, but it's going.
That's okay. Better late than never, right? Hopefully
Yeah.
in 2025. Okay, well, I'm going to hand it over to you. Have fun, and I look forward to the content. For those that are online live, please post a comment if you have any questions in the chat. I'll be moderating, looking for them, and then if there's an opportunity time to jump in and ask Anthony, otherwise I'll wait till the end and ask him then. Okay, Anthony, I leave it to you.
All right, let's go. So tonight I'll summarize the .NET Conf 2024, which was focused on .NET 9. So first off, if you want to download .NET 9, you can follow this link or type download .NET 9 on Google or Bing or whatever, and you will be able to download it. However, you don't necessarily need it. You can also update your Visual Studio if you haven't yet. So today I will mostly talk about .NET 9 and some feature of ASP.NET Core 9. Why some feature? I took the generic, the feature that applies to any ASP.NET Core 9. I won't dive into Blazor, for example, or Signaler or minimal APIs, etc., etc. So let's start with .NET 9. What's going on there? Just to recap, .NET 9 is a non-LTS, so it's a standard term support version of .NET. It will be patched for 18 months. So it's between .NET 8 and .NET 9, .NET 10, and both will be long-term support. So .NET 9 will be deprecated in May 2026, in 1.5 years now. So your choice. You can definitely migrate to .NET 9, but you will have to upgrade to .NET 10 very quickly. Depends on you. Okay, first thing that caught my eyes on .NET 9 is the performance improvements. It's 15% faster startup. Startup is 15% faster. Lower CPU usage, so very interesting. I did myself some tests, and my Azure function, some of them are loading very, very fast, maybe 50% faster. 15% is an average, okay? So it's not necessarily 15% for any app. Memory, 10 less memory consumption. Looks like not a big change, but keep in mind that .NET 6, .NET 7, and .NET 8 were both bringing the same improvements. So since .NET Core 3, we have approximately 50% less memory usage. So each time we have a new version of .NET 9, we save 10% memory, which is great, finally. cold launch are 40% faster with native AOT. That's what I meant. So 50% faster startup, yes, but if you use native AOT, it could be up to 50%, especially gRPC and Blazor. Regarding Kestrel, the latency has been reduced by 25%. So it's amazing. So if you were handling with 1 million requests per second in 1 second, you'll be able to 1 million and 200K more HTTP requests. And JSON serialization is faster, 35% faster. So systemtext.json was already 50% faster than Newtonsoft. Now it's almost 75% faster than Newtonsoft, which is very great. So I definitely recommend you to move from Newtonsoft and systemtext.json. But regarding systemtext.json, we have in performance improvement, but not only. We have some new feature that make it closer to Newtonsoft in terms of features. Let's start. So in .NET 9, systemtext.json is bringing a new JSON schema exporter. So it's extremely easy to implement it. Could be useful if you want to give, if you don't use, for example, OpenAPI, you can give to your client your input, and the client can implement his inputs, your endpoint inputs for your APIs, for example. Another usage scenario is the fact that you can implement with JSON schema some input validation. Could be useful too there. So that's a great feature. Another feature now is the custom indentation. So it's not necessarily a very big, very huge feature, but it could be useful if you want to indent your code, for example, for screen capture on console apps or whatever, like I did. So far, yeah, if you have a very huge schema, for example, it could be great to indent it if you want. Not the feature of the year, but keep in mind, you can do it now. Oh, my mouse was stuck. Sorry. Up, I'm back. Enum customization, this feature was present on Newtonsoft and was missing with systemtext. So .NET 9 is now fixing it. So you just have on your enum to add flag and JSON converter and the type JSON string enum converter as a property, and another attribute on the field itself, JSON string enum member name with the custom name. And now you can customize your enum value. What I mean by the enum value, it's text value, not the integer value, which is 1, 2, 3 in my example. Very useful. I needed it, and I could not implement it until I got .NET 9. Serialization is also faster because your serialization option were always instantiated, especially for the web default. What I mean by that, web default implements Pascal case by default and some other option. And now it's available in a singleton, so you can add it by statically, and you save some CPU by using it by using it in a singleton way. Instantiated it every time you needed it was CPU consuming. It's not the case anymore. Very useful, and I recommend you to use it every time, everywhere where you can. That's pretty much it for this feature. System text.json again. Oh, my favorite one. I will tell you why. If you had to make a unit test, okay, you were in trouble when you were comparing input, some input and your expected result, especially where your properties were not in the right order. Why? Because you needed to stringify them. So sometime one property was coming up at first or later. Okay, so now with the deep equal functions on JSON element object, which is a static method, you can compare two JSON elements from text, and it compares not necessarily the string itself, but the content, whatever the order of the properties. Very great, and this is very useful for me in one scenario, and the most important one, unit testing, obviously. Keep in mind, this is one of my favorites, and you might need it if you use systemtext.json and unit testing on JSON too. Any questions so far? Looks like not. Next. Link queue. Yeah. We have two new methods. The first one on link is aggregate by. So you can make aggregation on any properties. Why this is interesting? We could do that before with link, okay, no problem. But the thing is, Microsoft implemented an aggregate by, which save you that divides approximately by 4 the lines of code you needed before. So the same code which aggregates a list of person on the first name would have taken 4 more lines of code before if you have done it manually yourself. Okay, so very exciting. It makes your code more readable, more maintainable, and easier to code. Okay, so you take the property you want to make an aggregation on it, and then you separate them by the last name, for example, which gives first name Stéphane is carried by Mr. Lapointe, Rousseau, and Laporte. Okay, the second result would be Anthony Girardi, obviously. Very great. Another variant is not the aggregate, but it's an aggregation anyways. It's the count by. You can count the occurrence by the key, by the aggregate you want to count on. So we have 3 Stéphane there and 1 Anthony, and obviously it gives Stéphane is carried by 3 people, Anthony is carried by 1 people, first name. So once again, you could have done that before, but you save 4 times the line of code. So you would have needed probably 4 to 5 line of code before, and now it's a single liner. Great. I think that's it for link queue. Now on .NET 9, we have new cryptography features. For now, for this, it's mostly an optimization. The hashing algorithm takes now only 1 line. Before it took 4 lines. So you're saving 3 lines of code, okay? So how to do this? It's a new static option. It's the hash data on the cryptographic operation static class. After that, you convert to a base 64 string your hash, and it gives the following. So very great again. Your code looks simpler. Another thing is we have new algorithms. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's, I would say, KIMAC. And keep in mind that this feature requires Windows 11 build 26017 or later, or Linux with OpenSSL 3.0 or later. We have 3 new algorithms: KIMAC 256, KIMAC X of 128, KIMAX of 256. I have an issue with that. You can test on your own machine, but I got the latest build, and when I tried to execute it, my computer told me KIMAC is not supporting on your system. So I invite you to test on your laptop or any desktop you have, because on my end, it's not working on my desktop, and it's up to date. So I don't know what's going on there. I will dive on it, but if you have any feedback to provide, I will be glad to hear from you. That's it. Next, time span. We have new overrides on time span from methods. Previously, before .NET 9, all those methods were only taking one type of a parameter. It was double. Now it handles doubles and also integers, which makes sense. Most of time I'm using integers, so that's great. That's great. So every method is supporting now integer from ticks, days, hours, minutes, seconds, microseconds, and milliseconds. That's it for time span. Reflection, very interesting. It happened once, maybe in my long career, where I needed to create on the fly a new assembly. Okay, so each time I needed to access my assembly, if I change the context or whatever, I needed to recreate it. .NET 9 brings a persisting assembly creation, so it's creating physically on the disk a DLL. So if you want to create an assembly on the fly, you can build it on your machine and include it in your deployment if you want, or let the application to create when it's starting up, when you use it for the first time. Keep in mind, it's a bit, I would say, verbose, because you need to create an assembly. After that, you need to create a module, and after that, you need to create the assembly itself with its content. It's a bit verbose, but a method. So a minimum of one method and one module is mandatory on a single assembly. So it could be very huge work, but if you have any scenario, I forgot myself why I needed a long time ago to create a custom assembly, but this is it. You don't need to re-execute it all the time because it's very costful in terms of CPU. I'm even done with .NET 9. So let's go on ASP.NET Core 9 and what's interesting there. It's not necessarily an ASP.NET Core 9 feature could be used on .NET 9, but the most useful usage scenario is ASP.NET Core. I mean the dictionary improvement. It's more readable, so most of time you want to look at your headers in your HTTP request. .NET 9 bring a more handy way to debug and watch your headers. So you can see now the index with text and not with its index. More readable to me. Then .NET 8 brought a exception handler. This is a new way to handle your errors. Okay, it's like a middleware, but it's not a middleware. Okay, so .NET 9 is bringing a new improvement which allows you with a minimum of work to implement a handler with a minimum line of code. What I mean by that, you just need to pass as options, exception handler options, for example, the status code you want to handle when you are facing an issue. And you can customize it with lambda expression. So depending on your type of exception, you can select the status HTTP you want to return. And then you don't need to write a big exception handler and register it after. So it's a handy way to just handle the HTTP status if you want to. Very useful. I love it. And yeah, I forgot. You must add problem details in your pipeline. This is the first line. You have to add problem details on your services. Else, the exception handler won't work. It's mandatory. There is another improvement on problem details. You can also, in addition to your exception handler, add custom headers if you need it. For example, you can add powered by Anthony Girardi or whatever. You can add more error logs or whatever you want. So far, I did some coding, error codes instead. And yeah, that's pretty much it for now. At least for me. If you have better ideas, feel free to share them. All right. So as you can see, I see the status service unavailable there and the header powered by I need my money. Sorry. Next. This is a new developer page exception. So I took the Microsoft example because it was already animated. So you have now stack, query, cookies, headers, and routing panel in your page. And you can debug everything you need. And it's very handy too, because I love the UI. And yeah, you can do a ton of things. You can see error details in the stack. You can do quite everything. So it's, I would say, more user-friendly than Visual Studio itself. I invite you to use it and even try it at least. OpenAPI, Okay, OpenAPI is still supported in .NET 9, okay, but Swagger won't be available anymore. What I mean by that is Swashbuckle is not implemented in .NET 9. The reason why is Swashbuckle wasn't properly updated and maintained. it's a NuGet package, which is itself issued from open source project. Okay, so you don't have any more a version for the new version of .NET. I mean, sorry. However, there are workarounds. So you can, for .NET 9 only, and I don't know for a near future, but on .NET 9 or ASP.NET Core 9, you can use Swashbuckle for ASP.NET Core 8. It's still working, but if there is any update on ASP.NET Core 9 or 10 or whatever, there is no guarantee it will keep working. So don't panic for now. You can still use it. There is another one workaround. You can use NSWAG, which is a similar NuGet package, and it's also working. After that, you don't have the choice to use JSON itself and provide it to your client, implement yourself a UI, or again, using Postman. That's bad, but here is what it is. So you can keep using the version 8 from ASP.NET Core 8. It will keep working. Next, middlewares. So ASP.NET Core 8 was .NET 8, I mean, was bringing keyed service. If you are not familiar with that, I will re-explain it again. So you can define several, at the same time, several concrete implementation of an interface. And you can use them at the same time by injecting the service itself. And what you need to do is simply give them a name. So if I want a class which implements I-based interface and B class which also implement I-based interface, you just have in parameters to add the name of the instance you want, and you will give you will get the concrete class you want from the same interface with dependency injection. So now middlewares were not supporting that. In .NET 9 now, you can invoke services with keyed services from dependency injection, and you can also get them by the name. So, for example, I want to use the same implementation in singleton and scope. And you may know that my middleware constructor is a singleton, but your method invoke is a scoped method. So for this example, I did not take any interface. I just reuse the same class with a different scope. It's also possible. It's not necessary to use an interface. You can also you can use straight a concrete class. So very useful in middlewares because once again, the constructor is singleton, but the invoke method is scoped. So depending on your needs, you may need one of them or maybe both. The last feature I noticed on ASP.NET Core 9 is the hybrid cache. What is that? In fact, it's not extraordinary. It's a wrapper on in-memory cache and e-distributed cache. So instead of implementing the orchestration between the two types of cache, in-memory and i-distributed, it's handled by Microsoft. You just have to register add hybrid cache, okay? Sorry, before you'll need to download the package Microsoft extension caching hybrid, sorry for that. And you add hybrid cache as follows, and you can implement hybrid cache in a very simple way. So once again, you could have done that before, but you are just saving some line of codes. That's it. So it's the last feature I want to introduce you. Now, if you have any question, I will be glad to answer them.
Anthony, that was a great presentation. Thank you, as always.
Welcome.
So let's go to the chat now. See if there's any questions from anybody. So that was very interesting about the Swagger Open API. So is there nothing?
Yeah.
Is Microsoft going to take on that responsibility, I think, going forward, or like what do you think is going to happen there?
I think I talked to a Microsoft guy. They won't invest any time on this. Keep using the version 8 if you want, but there is no guarantee it will work on a further version or any update on ASP.NET Core 9 or the ASP.NET Core 10. So, and Swag or use Postman. That's it. Yeah. I could not get more information.
I'm not familiar with MSwag myself, so I'll definitely be checking that out to see what that does.
It's also used on Azure Function, so I don't know at all what's happening on Azure Function. So probably previous version will keep working, but we won't have any update on Azure Function either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Azure Function there is a open API like NuGet package. I'm gonna look here because I have a project open. Why are you so hot? And then I'll go back to the chat and I'll see if anyone's posted any questions. So let's see. It's so hot. I feel so low. I'm so high. Yeah, so if I look at a function app, .NET 8 or .NET 9, either one, there is a NuGet pack called microsoft.azure.worker.extensions.open.api that provides Swagger-like open API functionality.
It's probably NSwag behind. Maybe I haven't checked.
I don't know. That's really interesting because, like this package here is a Microsoft one, right? So they are. If I open up that package and go into it, they're using YAML.NET would be the only, package that it's using internally. Everything else is Microsoft. So interesting. Well, something to MSwag. So I'm gonna take a look at MSwag. It's always good to learn something new. I currently don't see any questions from people, so you might be getting off scot-free other than what I'm asking you. But you want to show up your contact information again, so if someone is watching this recording after the fact, they have a way to reach out to you if there's any questions. Hey, Anthony.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
No, can you go to your slide at the beginning that had your contact info?
Oh, sure. Sorry.
And we'll take us where. Okay, so there you go. So if anyone has any questions about .NET 9, feel free to reach out, connect with Anthony right there. We have his blog. We have his GitHub account and his LinkedIn. Also, feel free, you can reach out to me. My handle on Twitter X is @flying_maverick. DM me. I'm happy to connect you to Anthony if needed, or I'm happy to answer any questions myself. So, whether it's on .NET, .NET 9, Azure Functions. That's it. So, let's see. Thank everyone for joining. Anthony, once again, thank you for
Welcome.
being
Always
part
a
of our
pleasure.
group. Always a pleasure to have you here. I look forward to your new book coming out this year. And yeah, stay tuned. I'm going to try and schedule another one of these sessions for next month. I myself will probably be doing a presentation of something related to Azure and .NET. I wanted to do something for that tonight, but didn't have the bandwidth to get that together in time. And that's it. So thank you, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Anthony, thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.